Seekins Precision, wreaking some havoc. The HAVAK line of precision rifles created a little bit of buzz about 2 years ago at SHOT Show, which is when I was first introduced to the HAVAK line of rifles. Now, I've always had a lot of respect for Seekins Precision. They are a respected manufacturer of ARs. Their large frame semi-automatics are very well regarded in the industry. Their AR-15 line and related accessories are very well regarded. And they actually started out way back in the day making scope rings like my Seekins that are on this particular rifle. They also made some bases, and they were originally kind of more of a precision rifle company, hence the name Seekins Precision. Well, a couple of years ago, Glenn Seekins, the owner of Seekins Precision, came out with his own bolt action, which is this guy right here, the HAVAK Action. My name is Dave Tim from Guns and Tactics. Thank you guys very much for spending a few minutes of your day checking out this video and my review of the Seekins HAVAK. And I do appreciate you tuning in. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. You can check us out online. Before we begin, I wanted to get a few things out of the way. Number one, this rifle started out life as a model that was called the Seekins HP1 or HAVAK Pro 1. That model is since discontinued. However, the essence of the action is going to be the same with their other rifles. And this model now is basically better known as the Bravo, except for it comes in a black finish and it comes in a KRG Bravo stock. This particular rifle started out with the Magpul Hunter stock, which I'm not saying I didn't care for it. It's a fine stock for what it is, but not for what I wanted as a precision rifle, so I got rid of that early on. Now, the next thing is disclosure. Seekins is not paying me. In fact, they're not going to be happy with some of what I'm about to say, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But I did buy the rifle, so there's no, trade or anything like that. I did receive an industry discount, but when you own a gun shop and you're in the industry pricing is not uncommon. So it was really, nothing special, and there was no guarantee, promise, or anything like that. Now, I say that because some people have buyer's bias, meaning that when they buy something, they want to put out a good review of it because they don't want to admit that they bought something they regret. Buyer's remorse is a tough thing to talk about, especially online in front of everybody. I mean, the whole world could be watching right now. However, do I have buyer's remorse? Yeah, I kind of do. So now that you know the disclosure, I did not receive a rifle for free. I'm not expected to, give a glowing review. I'm going to get the good and the bad. And we're also going to talk about the specs of the rifle because there is a lot to like. There's a lot that goes into this rifle that basically make it like a semi-custom rifle. And when you look at the action, which they do sell on its own, by the way, for like $1,300 for just the action, it's competing with several custom actions. So if you look at the core of the rifle, which is the action, that short action, yeah, I mean, they're asking like pro custom action money. If you compare any of the big names, Impact, Lone Fusion, Bighorn, Ultimatum, whatever, all of those high-end actions are selling for that $1,200 to $1,500 price point. So the HAVAK action is right up there, and the reality is I expected it to perform right up there too. So the good, right away, let's talk about the good. How did it shoot? The only thing people care about is how rifles shoot, and I can say it shot great. Accuracy was never a complaint for me. I'm showing you a target right now of probably one of the best 100-shot groups. However, I didn't record every time I went and re-zeroed the rifle, before a local match or a practice session or whatever. And groups like the one that you saw, which are, just a hair under half MOA, were not hard to get with good quality ammo, and when I was able to get solid and do my part. Now, shooting it out to extended ranges, I'm not going to say I'm the world's best precision rifle shooter, so, in the few matches that I have shot with the rifle or practicing, we're shooting anywhere from 2 to 5 MOA size targets all the way out to about 800 yards, give or take. And once I read the wind, once I was able to get steady, I had no problem making hits. So as far as accuracy is concerned, no issues whatsoever. Now, as far as what I didn't like, the issues that I had with it, we're just going to talk about it right now, and that is the cycling of the gun. When I was at my first match, and even when I was practicing, I just started to notice that the bolt would hang up every so often as I was, loading the rifle. When the round that I just fired was ejected, everything was smooth there, and then when I went to go pick up the next round and feed it into the chamber, I would have some issues, and the bolt would just hang up. And initially I thought, it needs to be broken in. It's the magazine. Could it be the stock? Because I did change the stock. And we'll talk about some of the quirks of the HAVAK here in a little bit. And I noticed this issue started to come up more and more, and then I started to look at the brass and I was like, hey, something's not right. This thing needs to go in, or I need to get in touch with Seekins and figure it out. So one of the first things I figured out with Seekins is it is a proprietary bolt, and that's actually one of the cool things about the Seekins. So this is the bolt. Now, this is not how it comes from the factory. I added an extension with a bolt knob because the knob that it comes with is okay, but I just wanted something a little bit longer that would clear the scope, and I was able to find the extension from a gentleman on one of the forums. I can't remember his name, and then he had a knob. I didn't care for that, so I just put a piece of scrap aluminum in the lathe, and I made this one quick. So this was actually the first bolt knob I ever made and put it on here. So whatever. What is different about the Seekins bolt? It is, number one, has 4 lugs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you'll notice, when locked, they are at the 3 and 9 o'clock position. Now that's different from a Remington. So this is a Remington 700, and when this is locked, the lugs are at 12 and 6 o'clock. So when the Remington 90-degree throw is feeding and cycling, the bolt lugs are riding in that 3 and 9 o'clock position. We're picking up the round with the bottom of the bolt body right here. With the Seekins, when we rotate 90 degrees, now we have a larger top to bottom bolt diameter. We're picking up the rounds with this bottom area here, and that's significant. You can see here there is a difference. The diameter now of the Remington versus that taller diameter with the bolt lugs of the Seekins does make a difference and requires the magazine catch to hold the magazine a little bit lower than a standard Remington 700. So that's one unique thing to the Seekins, is that if you are going to be using this with a stock of your choice, so like me, I was very upfront with Seekins when I first talked to them about getting a rifle to do a review. I said, hey, I don't care for the Hunter stock, and they were like, yeah, that's no problem. I did a review on the Grayboe Ridgeback stock, which you can check that out up there. I do like this stock. However, one of the issues I ran into was magazine, so I thought that was maybe contributing to my cycling issue. I had to fit the mag catch, and I'll show a little clip here of the difference between a stock mag catch and a modified mag catch that was with the Magpul stuff from the original Magpul Hunter to a Magpul Pro that I also tried out. But you can definitely see there's a difference requiring the height of the mag to be lower in the gun. So that was an issue I sorted out, thought, okay, hey, maybe we have it solved, whatever. Still had the same issue, gave up, reached out to Seekins. Now, I do have to say, the customer service at Seekins has been amazing. The crew that I have spoken to about their Beyond MOA guarantee, it's very true. They took good care of me. However, I feel like the gun shouldn't have had to go back for the issues it had to go back for. Now, if it was something I screwed up with the stock or whatever, I'm fully willing to admit it. And we initially tried different bottom metal. We tried fitting a latch or a catch, and I would send videos back and forth, some of which you're seeing throughout this video of kind of my little phone shop videos, so they can see exactly what I was experiencing, because tech support is tough. I will give them credit. Supporting guns over the phone, over email is a very, very difficult task. I did it for several years, and it's tough. However, we figured out it wasn't the bolt catch. We figured out it wasn't the bottom metal because we tried that. One of the first things they were to blame was the stock, saying that the pillars were not the correct height. I totally get it. It's easy. That's the external thing. That's what was changed. So we need to change those pillars. However, when I measured them, from the pillars that were included with the bottom metal to the pillars that were in here, I think it was like a 3 and 4 thousandths height difference that I quite frankly would kind of struggle to see if that was the main issue. However, I get it. So anyways, the gun goes in. Send it in, send it as is, all that stuff. Takes a while, takes like, I think we're like 2 or 3 months-ish, and we finally get an issue, and basically I get the service call back. Over insertion stop was added to the action body. That was something that was added since I bought my rifle, so since now they added an over insertion stop of the action. Great. They replaced the firing pin spring. They did an overall inspection. They added a spacer to the firing pin assembly, again kind of updating it to current production standards. They replaced the breech plug. It was out of spec. Barrel out of concentricity, reworked. Cleaned, oiled, tested, found lip at breech plug, blended. And then I also then purchased a KRG stock because, again, they recommended that stock, which would work well, and not to use the Graybo stock. However, I just didn't end up liking the KRG Bravo stock. It just didn't feel that great to me. Sure enough, then I had another issue. I was at the range doing some practice, and normally, you know, the action is relatively smooth. Now, at maximum, you know, open, there is a little bit of play just because you have, you know, a round peg and a round hole, and there has to be a little bit of clearance, and that's easiest to exaggerate when it's in this maximum open position. So yeah, if you pull it at an angle, it can bind. Some actions I've been told are much better at this than others, but yeah, if you lift it or tilt it or pull it or whatever and then try to push, yeah, you could bind it. However, generally speaking, it's a pretty smooth action. Some people reported a little bit of grittiness, and maybe when it was brand new it was a little bit more gritty, but as it's kind of broken in, and as you can see, there's some wear on the bolt body, and this is the second bolt body, but you can see some wear. Anyways, I got to the point where all of a sudden it was just like, and something was just wrong. Like I have no idea. At first I thought, oh crap, I had a bad round. However, all I'm shooting is factory Hornady ammunition. So I sent it back again for number 2. They replaced damaged bolt body, updated the bolt handle, test fired, and sent it back. They didn't say exactly how or what was damaged. They just said it was damaged and they replaced it. So here's my issues. Number 1, I'm disappointed in the performance. For a $2,000 gun, I feel like it shouldn't have had to go back twice. Now, I realize I've changed the stock, so that's on me. However, if this quality barreled action can't fit into a Remington 700 style stock, aside from the fitting of the bottom metal, the mag catch, I get that. It kind of is frustrating to me. Now, with the other things here, barrel out of concentricity, reworked. So if the barrel was out of concentricity, why not just replace the barrel? I'm confused with that. Found lip at breech plug, blended. Blended with what? Just to go in there with a Dremel tool? I don't know. So again, these are some of the issues that kind of just let me down. Because initially when I first got it, I first started shooting, I started getting those groups that I was showing you earlier. I was like, man, for a production rifle, now that I have it set up, that scratched the itch of, like, for me getting a custom bolt action 6.5 Creedmoor competition style gun. Like, I was set with this. In fact, I liked it so much, I bought a sister rifle in 308. I bought another HP1 in 308 just because I liked the rifle so much and I thought the level of quality was there because of some of the features that we'll talk about here in a little bit. However, again, I kept having these issues. The 308 ran great. The 308 had 0 problems whatsoever. It shot great, it cycled great. It was just a great sample of it. So out of my sample of 2, this one isn't as nice as the 308. Now, I did end up selling the 308 because I'm pretty much decided at this point I'm gonna go a different direction, and I just don't shoot 308 as much as I do 6.5. So that is my, you know, kind of feedback with my situation so far. And we're gonna talk about what I liked about the rifle. We're gonna talk about some of the positives and some of the attractive features of the rifle here in just a moment, because I don't want you to think it's all doom and gloom. Would I buy the rifle again? Probably not, no. If I was a consumer going back in time with my money, in hindsight, the experience that I've had and everything else, I probably wouldn't have. Now, if they would have said, hey, we're gonna replace the whole barreled action just to make sure everything's up, you know, especially with the laundry list of issues that they found, I'd probably feel better about it. But the fact that we just repaired it, and I don't know, it's running overall pretty good. I still have an issue every now and again, which again, I realize Seekins is probably gonna blame the stock, but it's just, I don't know. I'm just not in love with it as much as I was. So that is that. Now here's what they did right. They have a lot of cool things going for them. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good features. Number 1, the action does have a lot of cool features. It does have a larger ejection port, which is nice when you're shooting some of those hand loads or longer loads or anything like that, having that, especially compared to the shorter ejection port of a Remington 700. We already talked a little bit about the bolt, but again, the 4 bolt 90-degree throw, this is a beefy full diameter body bolt. So that means that the bolt diameter here is the same here versus like a Remington where you have these lugs that are larger than the shaft, if you will. So you have a full diameter bolt body. It's beefy, it's nitrited. Also found on the bolt is the M16 style extractor, which I had no issues extracting rounds, no issues extracting live rounds. It does have the ejector on the face there. It is threaded, so you can add extended knobs like I've done here. Otherwise, the knob that it does come with, the Gen 2 knob, is actually pretty solid. Does have bolt release on the side. Now, as far as the feel of the action, a lot of people are very particular about that, and I understand that. And it is a cock on lift and cock on close. It's like almost like a hybrid, if you will. Some actions are just cock on lift, and then when you close the action, some are the other way. But with this one, you're doing some of the cocking, and then you can also definitely feel you're doing additional cocking on close. Now, the action does take AICS mags, and it is also cut for AW mags, which I did not personally try. A lot of the guys that I talked to said just stick with AICS mags or Magpul mags and you should be fine, but it is compatible with AW mags if you wanted to give that a whirl. As far as ammunition that I shot, I did not fire any reloads. The only thing I reload is magazines, and I shot 100% factory Hornady ELD match ammo, either 140 or 147, and to be honest, depending on the lot, it liked them both. Actually, I think it was 143 or 147 if I recall, but it liked them both. Accuracy was just fine with either lot. As far as which one it liked better, I think towards the end, once I got kind of better as a shooter, this particular rifle liked the 147 a little bit, so that's just what I kept buying. But again, no complaints with accuracy. If the rifle just ran and did everything else, like, you know, it'd be pretty sweet. So no complaints with accuracy. The scope base, it comes with a 20 MOA scope base with 5 screws and a recoil lug. And what I liked about the screws is that they are 832. Now, commonly you'll get a 648, which is a smaller, finer thread. A lot of gunsmiths will upgrade those to an 840, but 840 is a pretty unique screw. You're only gonna find that generally in gun shops. An 832, you can find quality 832 fasteners at good quality hardware stores. So let's just say you were out working on this and you happen to lose that 832 screw, you can go to a good quality hardware store and pick up a Torx head 832 socket head cap screw and get you out of a bind. Or let's just say you lost one, you still have 4 screws. Again, 5 screws, which is awesome. I also like that they're using roll pins to secure the trigger versus the solid pins that some of the other companies in Remington out there. So swapping out the trigger was super easy. I did swap it out to a Geisley versus the Timney 510 that they came with. Nothing bad to say about the Timney 510. I just prefer the Geisley better. In fact, you can check out my review of the Geisley Super 700 trigger. Really, really sweet trigger. Barrel, it is a 5R barrel. This particular one is 24 inches, and of course it is threaded 5/8 24, so you can add a muzzle device suppressor of your choice. The taper is a light tactical contour. It is not fluted on this one. However, some of the other models have really cool spiral fluting and things like that to keep them lighter weight, more like a hunting rig. So it is a proprietary profile, but I had no issues. As far as weight, list weight for the rifle by itself is 10.05 pounds, and obviously that's going to change a little bit depending on your stock, and as you start adding stuff or whatever, it's going to get heavier. My whole rifle, as is shown here with the scope and bipod, is 14 pounds 10 ounces, so not unreasonable for a precision rifle type rig. Obviously, if you wanted to do something lighter, they do have other models that are more geared towards hunting. However, in precision rifle, we do short sprints, and this is what I wanted this gun to do versus like hiking with it in the valley for the whole day. As far as caliber availability, it is available in all of the popular calibers. There's additional long action calibers as well, depending on the model, because the Seekins HAVAK family is not just the HAVAK Pro 1 or the Bravo, but they do also have hunting models that are lighter weight with different stocks, lighter contour barrels, and they come in more of the popular hunting cartridges, and they were updating that. So for full availability for caliber specs, things like that, I would recommend checking out the Seekins webpage or searching online for Seekins Precision HAVAK, and then you can kind of see what current pricing is, what the current model lineup is, because it has changed a little bit since like I've received this one, and then what current caliber offerings are available. So that is my review of the Seekins HAVAK. Again, I was a little disappointed in my experience. Would I buy it again? No, I'm gonna actually go a different direction. Now, I don't know what Seekins' reaction is gonna be to this video. They're seeing it the same time you are, because I don't have any relationship with anybody. I can say what I want, and I'm going to speak the truth. Everything that I'm said can be backed up with their service and repairs and stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. I just want you guys to know my experience. Now, my experience is one out of how many? There's a lot of great reviews about these rifles. So, you know, do I think that you would be getting a quality rifle? I would like to think you would, especially for the money that they're asking, which is MSRP is around $1,900 to $2,000 for like the Bravo, which is the model that replaced this. And again, I will say the customer service from Seekins was top notch. So if you do have an issue, they're beyond MOA guarantee. We'll probably make it right and treat you well. I just, you know, would prefer never to have to use the customer service if I don't have to. So that'll do it for me. If you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. You can also check us out on social media. If you have any questions or comments about the review, go ahead and sound off in the comment section below and we'll talk more about it. Otherwise, if you have questions about firearms in general, we do have a QA episode at the end of every month where I answer all your questions, guns, and tactics related. So go ahead and send your question into the email address shown below, the QA@gunsandtactics.com. Thank you guys very much for watching and have a great day. We work really hard to make content that we hope you as a shooter would enjoy. Subscribe to our channel, check out our featured videos and playlists, and if you have a question firearms related, go ahead and send an email to the address shown on the screen to be entered into our monthly QA series.